All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and load everything back up again. Boy. I also need to fix all my stuff. Thank you. Yeah, so the whole we shouldn't lose power thing, we didn't. But my power supply for my computer got very upset when I swapped back over to the grid and killed only my computer. It was impressive. I'll take it, you know.
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to
So
sort
just
out
get
our
pick up where we left
findings
off.
once the loose returns. Seems to me that there are several things that don't add up here.
You are correct, Navia.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
We get to pick up right where we left off.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found hiding there.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like the kind you usually see in novels.
It would seem so.
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death.
No, it's
quite
always me.
inexplicable. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Linny and Lynette.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
But hopefully we can make some considerable progress.
Trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
Well, yes,
right.
that's how this
This
works.
is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the Oratrice will hear statements from both sides.
The Oratrice will too.
That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the Oratrice.
I didn't know Gershon had posted in the,
It's as if the
chat
Oratrice
there
has
for
its own will,
picture of
and
the
is
new
a judge
character.
in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
Fascinating.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make
I mean, he
final
might just
decision.
sound like that. You never know.
This, too, will be used by the Oratrice as a reference. Then, finally, the Oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? I thought Malevolent called the shots.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always
Well,
come
that's
to the
animal.
same judgment, which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice. Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
Of course. Why wouldn't we be?
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Oh, I forgot you talk.
Whoa, there's no need for that. Paimon thinks they have a point. That said, are they providing food?
Is that all you care about, sweetheart? Of course
Of
it is.
course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
Now's not the time to be picky.
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous desserts, too.
Oh, well,
I mean,
guess
what
that's not
better
gonna
way
happen.
to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets?
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all.
Paimon?
Just kidding.
It was all that matters. That was my concern too. I mean, pretty much.
Even if there are no snacks.
But Paimon needs to maintain her nutrient balance to be our emergency food for when we need to eat her.
No snacks. Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply make some.
Huh? Here? But how?
Understood, Demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
I mean, who doesn't?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the Demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
I'd like to see him just like pull out eggs from his pocket. Like, here you go.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my awesome snacks soon enough.
There's a joke to be made there.
Quite the interesting group.
I mean, it's primarily Paimon that loves her sweets. Must be a spinach di Rosula thing. Navia methodically handles the ingredients, pulls fresh macarons out of the oven in shorter order.
And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still in the oven. Oh, it's even better now. Paimon can't stop drooling. From the
I
way
should
you had
probably
used
should have taken
to
that
guys
break time to
carrying
eat some
all that
food.
stuff around, Paimon thought you'd
Oh,
have
well.
them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself. Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything.
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
That's not quite what Paimon meant, but okay.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty, beating egg whites and baking like this?
No?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give
That's
these a
fair.
try. Fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us.
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
Tea
Paimon
is
can never
ready to
think
be
clearly
served as
anyway.
well. This is Demoiselle's favorite. Strong black tea with a floral fragrance that clears the mind and lifts the spirit.
Well, thank you. Why don't you take a break as well?
No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
Yes, I'm sure you are. Just merely doing as you should.
All right then.
Down to business.
As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
So apart from the twins, we're left with the 2 other people, the missing girl and the deceased.
The flower vase and the thud we
Maybe a
heard
steak?
during
I mean,
the
I do like
performance
some steak. I've
could
been making
indicate
burgers
some
lately. Been
altercation
enjoying
between
those.
Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
There's no evidence that this 3rd person even exists.
True.
Too much.
None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this 3rd person.
0.7.
But the only people left to consider are both technically victims, whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making her escape?
But she had no way of knowing how the magic trick worked.
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she
Maybe I'll
would
make
need
a
to
burger
understand the
after this
entire
stream.
trick to pull it
I don't
off.
have any fries.
Nor does
I need to
she
go to
have
Walmart
any
anyway, so maybe I'll buy
motive.
fries then.
The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the magic troop's members.
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great!
Maybe the guy from the audience. Which one? There were many of them.
Super sweet.
Talking about Novelet? Novelet?
They are my specialty after
Ow.
all.
That hurt. Don't do that.
And I see you've already had 5 of them.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3.
Yeah, well, you're lying. Because you're a chonker.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
Yes, it might.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count.
No, you don't, Paimon.
Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough.
It's fine. If you ate them, you ate them. Oh, it's fine. Everyone knows how much you love eating.
Wait. Even you don't believe Paimon?
How dare you?
Could you? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach.
And then maybe you won't float.
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal. Balloose, set up the stove again if you would.
Uh-oh.
What are you
She's
doing?
making more.
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Oh, there's really no need to do that.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
But that's
As you
mostly what you
wish,
do,
mademoiselle.
Paimon.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
He didn't finish his line.
Well, this really is your hobby, huh?
Yes, it is. Okay, so maybe you're right. It does kind of like ruin the throat. Yeah, but the discussion that follows does not yield much progress.
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
Oh, that will happen for sure.
And for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small
All
task
7
for
of
the
them.
Spina di Rosula. Silver, Maloose, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Neither Cal nor Halsey had a motive, but after having talked to Navia, the likelihood of a third person being involved seems very low too.
Alright, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to
Fancy.
get the vets ready for the trial. Oh,
Alright, well, I guess we'll wait. Oh. Between 8 and 10 a.m., huh? The dumbest mechanic in the game. Loaded baked potatoes as a snack? What all do you put on it? Oh, so much for that. No, because we're... Oh, okay. Now you do it. That's what 600 milliseconds of latency does. And that's why we're not doing Spiral Abyss today. I did check my internet again after everything came back up and it was still terrible.
do. The whole situation is so confusing.
I do have some thoughts, but let's take things step by step.
Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette,
How you doing,
at
Sai?
least we will be supporting them from the stands.
Yep, just for you.
Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
Not well.
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
You're probably gonna be locked up for a while, my dude.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Everything is sour cream, butter, salt, pepper, chives, cheese, and bacon.
You all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation
I'm fine with
came
all that
out
except the sour cream.
empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence.
You know, that's not how that's supposed to work for you,
But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Oh, just you wait, Furina.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Linney clearly reveals the details of the magic trick. Everyone in the audience is
Thank
stunned.
you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Furina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time.
That sounds even worse. I just don't like sour cream.
Murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
How could Lenny not know about that sound?
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Uh-oh.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
They probably represent the Oratrice's stance in the trial.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen,
You don't like
allow
what didn't
me
hear?
to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye.
I saved myself a good. I mean, we could always go with like mozzarella
Of
cheese on
course,
top.
I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
They're Fatui.
No wonder they did something like this.
And everyone turns
The
against him.
serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
Rational audience member? Okay. Yeah,
That's
so rational.
irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it.
Are we about to have to do the bubble thing?
The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted?
What does this do?
Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy.
You'll compromise with mozzarella? I mean, everyone loves
Good thing
mozzarella.
I made all
Oh,
those
did you do anything with the
preparations.
delivery? Yes, I got a text from a plus 996 about a delivery miss new. I'm still waiting for the confirmation for the actual label
Hey,
itself.
Lenny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Lenny and Lynette are Fatui.
Order! Order! Mr. Linney,
I don't even know
allow
where
me
that
to
is.
Establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
Oh, 100% she is. There's no doubt about a magician's ability to con others. Given how Linnea has concealed his identity, this could all have been set up beforehand. Plus, Child is here in Fontaine, along with other house operatives. There must be some scheme at work here. I've been a victim of such schemes before, and now.
Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
Man, those scales are not looking too good for us.
I knew it.
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Granted.
My client withheld some key information. My defense cannot
In
proceed.
that case, what is your request?
Plot that got spoiled a few days ago. I mean, a little bit, yeah. I request a brief adjournment. There are things that must be discussed.
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
You don't say.
Very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Vatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends.
Are we,
That's
though?
why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to.
But how can we know this isn't all just another lie?
Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but...
Explain the other issue first. Where did you actually go while the trick is being performed?
Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
You must be going pretty quick.
It was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
And what did you find?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that
Now, is he
explains
telling
why
us
you
the
didn't hear
truth?
thud.
But why do you want to understand how the Oratrice operates?
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of
So how long
mistrust
is this
either.
chapter?
But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
I believe in the facts. I will defend you from these charges.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Actually, we already have the key evidence we need.
Huh?
The adjournment's almost over. Let's go back.
Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Lenny claims that he entered the chamber containing the Oratrice's core upon entering the tunnel and did not witness the crime taking place, and thus did not hear the thud. Lenny claims to have heard a mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the Oratrice's core within the Opera House's underground structures. Full quote minus lore written? Yeah, we could work with that. However, Fiona just heard all of the defense. What are we going to do? She was there. Continue the trial.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off,
No,
Mr. Linney
no, she does not.
acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linny's perspective.
Based on the opposition's account of events, you can identify loopholes in their statements. Okay. Use evidence and clues obtained during the investigation to refute any erroneous assertions of a fact and replace them with new inferences. Use your refutations to convince the audience and obtain more support from the people. The Oratrice will display such shifts clearly. When you find and refute all incorrect content, you can complete the cycle of refutation and unveil the truth.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud.
Eating some chicken burger and wedges? Ooh.
He did not realize that the
I
sound
really
could
want
be
some
heard
fries.
by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linny red-handed. So Linny proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box.
Yes.
Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident.
It definitely reminds me a bit of Astral Chain, though. There is no chill.
And there you have it.
Never
That's
any chill.
the truth behind what
That's true.
happened.
Samaras was terrible. Anything was going to be
Does
an
the
improvement from
defendant's
that.
side have any objections to Lady Farina's description?
Many of them, actually, yes.
The key to refuting
Oh,
Lady Farina
my
is
voice.
the order of events. What Linny experienced and what he saw. Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal.
I guess we're just going to go through all of them. Literally the last one? What? How does that help us? Okay, I guess I can't refute that. A lot higher in the game? Yeah, I know. It's because I'm a lady. Okay. Loud sound is from Lenny in Halsey's fight, but Lenny claimed that he heard nothing in order to cover up the truth. Okay.
According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth. Linny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say!
Okay, Miss Doubtfire. Pretty much, yes.
When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent.
Could we have had not Paimon say that? Would have been nice. Successful refutation.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that!
That doesn't surprise me, Paimon.
Wasn't it awesome?
You're very good at talking a lot.
You believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
Moreover, I believe my opposition's reasoning is flawed.
My reasoning?
The onstage equipment was clearly tampered with in a premeditated fashion. However, you say that Cowell bumped into Liney by chance.
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Lenny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh,
They have a point.
That's right, you tell them! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Well, I'm sure many people would like to be your partner, sweetheart.
Your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims?
Do you happen to remember how you refuted Lenny's alibi initially?
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Your claim has now become my weapon. Your claim has also become a critical clue. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I missed one? Huh. Which is the evidence that Lenny wasn't in the tunnel when the crime took place?
That's right! Lenny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't
Go in timeout for what?
strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Lenny had already entered
What did I do
the
this time?
basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
How do you like them apples?
Well played.
To think you'd use
Oh,
such
do I need to go to horny jail? Is that what we're saying?
Well then, if it wasn't Lenny who committed the crimes, then who
Yeah, we
was
don't
it?
know that yet. The murderer was... Select the URL icon on the interface to check the corresponding case questions. Select answers and fill all the empty gears. Verify the correctness of your deduction. If you have made mistakes, you must make another selection for the remaining options. Once you've answered all the questions correctly, you complete this logic chain. The guard's investigation report indicates that the fireworks released near the end of the show ignited and burned through the ropes suspending the water tank above the stage. This caused the water tank to fall and kill Cowell in the box below. If Lenny is no longer under suspicion, only the other members of the troupe would have been able to tamper with the props. Lenny gave a detailed account of how the trick was supposed to work by using a box inside a box. The idea was for the box containing the audience member to be transported across via a tunnel underneath, and Lenny himself would also use this tunnel to get to the other side. Having changed her outfit, Lynette and her assistant would take charge of onstage interactions. The clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Who was the only person who could possibly have committed the crime?
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility?
Yep, definitely for that one then, yes.
Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Hypothesis correct.
That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh,
How's that so?
How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Okay. How can we envisage Lenny as having been unable to interfere with the crime?
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
Told you it was the assistant.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lenny as well. The deceased's name is Cowell.
You already have him.
No one entered or left the opera house through its... The sound we heard may have come... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
Where did she...
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely...
3 out of 4 wrong. Okay. Well, we messed that up, didn't we?
No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances.
Okay, so I was totally not reading like up here at the top, like how these have to correspond. That's cool. How can we envisage Lenny as having been unable to interfere with the crime?
Lenny was not in the
because he wasn't there. Who's the prime suspect currently? Well,
the deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or left the...
guess it has something to do with the clothing. I don't understand how that works, but we'll go with it. What? Did I not have the last clue? The criminal must have understood. Oh. Leaving aside how he died, Cowell had all the means to commit a crime at his disposal. The strange noise could likely have been the sound of Cowell and Halsey struggling. Lenny was not in the tunnel for 1 minute. This would have given time for Cowell to bring Halsey out of the magic box in the audience stands. According to the guard's testimony, no one entered or left the opera house, so even if he had taken her, there'd be no means of exiting. Exiting from the box would have been in full view of the audience, pretty much guaranteeing that they would be discovered.
Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Where in the world did Halsey go?
I see how it is.
So because you might have known about the... I mean, that's fair.
And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
And Monday, Final Fantasy 14 raid got cancelled. Oh, well, that's sad. Magic. Escaping from the water tank. Wait, could it have been the water? A Hydro Eidolon?
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents. But do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
Uh-oh. Not satisfied with the price. Well, that's fair.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Hold on a second.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment.
We're like missing backwards. Exactly.
Gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
So I couldn't have gotten it right the first time. That's rude.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
I request that we examine Cowell's personal effects. We might find something there.
Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Linny already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope.
Yeah, you were talking here, but Paimon
Your
floats.
suggestion
Okay,
that we
right.
broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Never.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the Primordial Sea.
The Primordial Sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice.
Oh no.
The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
I mean,
Could
maybe.
something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Maybe. Or is it?
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tanks
Yeah,
really used this
melting.
as a means to
Pretty
hide
much.
water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Quick,
Mademoiselle,
like a bunny.
wait! What about your partners?
They'll be fine.
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results. But we cannot yet verify the veracity
Just
of
a
these
little bit of a
clues.
different one.
Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the Primordial Sea.
The liquid from the liquid the guards found in Cowell's luggage seems to have the ability to dissolve Fontanians into water. Who is the prime suspect?
The deceased's name is Cowell.
What item did the culprit use to control the timing? Oh, I
The
would
water
assume.
from the Primordial Sea should already have... The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. The water from the primordial sea...
Oh.
Lynette was in the magic box on stage. I remember there was something else within the inner leg. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead
Yeah, before
some
season.
form of triggering
I mean,
mechanism.
I'm pretty much going to as well.
The deceased's name is Cowl. The
Okay.
rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fire. The rope that strung the water tank.
Nope, got it wrong.
I remember there was something else within the inner... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. I remember there was something...
Maybe. Okay.
Ahem. It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon
So if you keep
attached
failing,
to
they do the 50-50 takeaway.
the water
Like
from the
you,
primordial
they may just even give you like
down and dissolve
this one.
Halsey.
Look, we know you're stupid, so pick this one.
Enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused
Only Ace
an
Detective
innocent
versus
person?
Ace Ventura. You know, we could always play the Ace
Now,
Attorney series.
It seems like the only point of contention remaining
pretty much
is
this
the
game
exact
right now.
circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence.
Oh?
I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
Uh-oh.
What?
That can't be.
Oh, I see. Well,
Oh, yeah.
how wonderfully
Ace Attorney.
to have
They're,
your own
um,
counterattack only to come back and wound
Like from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah. The Ace Attorney games are very dramatic.
My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I
Alright.
right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here.
Sure there is.
Is this the end of the road?
the water as new evidence was too good a move. Oh, why did this have to happen now?
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on.
Of course
be
she
hasty.
does.
I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linney, if you would be so kind.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
But they're not.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lenny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf.
Sure.
But, as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
She's just gonna let this happen.
I understand.
Click.
And voila.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
Maybe it was.
I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I
Uh-oh.
was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
Uh-oh.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt.
You nasty
I heard that
Mondstadters.
Lily's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there, and I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lenny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Okay.
Can a person even hide in there?
Apparently so. If they're practiced hand at concealment, probably. A professional thief could make it
But
work.
I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it's time to refute the Hydro Archon's previous reasoning.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective.
Okay, let's do it. Begin refutation. Select evidence to refute Lenny entered the tunnel. I mean, well, he did, so. Halsey dissolved. Identify loopholes. Find between Lenny and Cowell.
The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowell.
Lenny knocked Cowell out. Nope, not quite.
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened.
I mean, that honestly seems like it'd be enough, but sure.
Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
And that's it. Okay.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon!
Could we not Paimon?
Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked.
That middle image of her just throwing the pot at Cowell.
Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion,
No way, Ace Detective Paimon? Exactly.
into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief. Made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box.
Nani?
With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance
Man, Hollow Knight is
ended.
a wonderful game. I need to go back and play it sometime soon. Successful refutation.
She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
How'd she manage that? That's the real question.
The events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Mustache, right? And the glasses.
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now?
No, I just know how you are.
No.
A little brat.
Have no further
Still just the one who sold the macarons. Who's actually going to take her
I lament
seriously?
defeat.
I mean...
But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
No. No.
Look at that.
You don't need that.
It's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any
my favorite
evidence
character.
while
She's
committing
pretty
the deed,
awesome.
Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to
How
drop.
could she leave herself with dignity? You heard how presumptuous she
He poured
was.
the water from the
You
primordial
can't be that
sea
pretentious.
into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing
That's
that there
how,
was
don't be a
trouble,
snot.
Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian, thinking that the waters had not
Oh,
yet taken
people,
effect.
I'm sure
He
people
decided
love
to
her.
proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this
just out of the blue.
reconstruction of events, we can conclude
Just
that
an
Linny,
unaliving
the
happening.
accused, is in fact innocent.
I appreciate that, Hamza.
While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately,
Agreed.
this case at least can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Over the next few days, we will be going through all of 4.1, 4.0, 4.1, and 4.2. So
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
let's not celebrate just yet.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial
Award,
sea
5-star?
in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dare to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes?
I mean, why wouldn't it? Uh-oh. It was at that moment Vaughn realized he messed up.
Your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
Reindeer ears?
And now that your plan has fallen through,
we could probably make that happen.
The secrets of the water have been revealed. You have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered
It was
that
at
the
that
water
moment
can
realized
cause people
that
to
Vaughn
dissolve.
realized.
It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have
Guess
made
I could probably
decent
go to the
morale.
pet store and see what I can find for him.
The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
Uh-oh. And there he goes. Just like that. He turned into water.
And now he can no longer talk.
How convenient.
Ruthlessness. I
Water
shouldn't have
drugs, pretty
expected
much.
any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
You a good boy? Blub blub. Did you enjoy your treat? Good boy.
So, we're just going back now?
Yeah, that's pretty much what's gonna happen. Problem seems to have been solved for now. We're not needed here anymore.
That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon!
Please wait. I don't
Winnie.
I know you may not want to
Water,
speak to me
not
right
even
now.
once.
Maybe you don't even
This
want
is
to
your
look
brain
at
on
me,
water.
but still, let me thank you again for
As
defending
you're
me to
shedding
the
everywhere.
end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
I just didn't wish to see anyone be falsely accused. I just want to be sure that we're square.
Yes, but regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me.
That's all.
That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave,
Otets.
approached recruiting us back then too.
I don't know who the knave is.
The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your
Do I know who the knave is? In the DARE program. I never do water.
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story?
Well, while he
It's
tells
about
a
my
story,
past.
I'm going to use
Back
the
when
restroom.
our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would
How dare
constantly
he?
take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either.
Oui, oui.
Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
Hamza, tu es parles français? They're going to pay me in
Took a
food.
while
All
for me
these
to realize
case
just how
solving
dark his
storytelling.
heart really was.
Right.
After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back.
That's not good.
I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
No.
Oh, so he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
Maybe.
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
Villains. So what happened after
I
that?
managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person.
This
and
monologue
hurried
will
through the
definitely
night.
not be useful.
But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
Pretty much.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you.
I will hold your paw, don't you worry.
Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles.
I love you.
But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Okay, you can have it back.
Oh,
But I still love
so
you.
that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
I mean, they've stopped a crown with a crown. I mean, pretty much. That's how this works. That's all the best, though. The knave is after the Gnosis, isn't she?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Sarita to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from
but what if it
Fontaine can
was?
indeed
What if you're a
dissolve
2%
into some
Australian
sort of
shepherd?
water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the
Bouffe
knave,
d'été?
has their roots in Fontaine, and we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
I'm sorry, but I still can't completely trust you.
It's all right.
Baz.
I understand. The only thing
I
I can
mean,
do is relate all this to you.
Can't
I just
argue with
hope
that.
You can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right.
I don't think I've met the
If you
knave
should
yet.
need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
I understand. Goodbye.
Bye, Linny.
A twist of great magic. Alright, so let's leave the Opera House now. You know, I really want to do the Spiral Abyss today. No, you haven't. Nope. Probably still have like another, what, 7 hours of it? Hey there, Christiane. How's it going? Gonna sleep? Well, I appreciate you stopping, Hamza. You have a wonderful night.
With
Sleep
the
well.
disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Always.
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
Well, I'm sorry, Navia.
Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
I was really only trying to defend Lenny. I wasn't necessarily looking into serial disappearances case.
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah.
Ow! Yes, Christian?
Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Well, sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal? Well, guess you really did treat us as partners, huh?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no
We will be
regrets
pulling for
later.
Raiden here in the
Anyway,
next
it would
month
just be a meal, so
when
it
she
shouldn't
comes out
take
again.
up too much of your time.
How about for you? Well, if you say so, let's go have that meal then. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like to have a meal with her. Paimon, you're just a fatty.
Wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
All right then, let's have our farewell meal.
So once Raiden comes out, we're gunning for C2 and her weapon. We'll see if we have him do it. Hey, part 1 completed. Prelude of Blancheur. That's not what I meant to go. Chapter 4, Act 2, like the faint moonlight of yesteryear. What about for you? Who are you gunning for? One extra wish. Huzzah! Okay. How are we doing on 74? Okay, we can do another thing. Who's paying for the dinner? Probably me, let's be honest. It's usually me. Go to the hotel de board. Way over here. Before we do that, let's go get our expedition rewards. And then we're going to do one more battle. Though it's very hard to actually play this game with extreme lag. Not a fan of it. Okay, why are you not adding... Let's try that. You'll go Dutch. Fair enough. But for the first aid, that's never necessary. My rule of thumb is whoever asks for the date should be the one to pay for it.
Welcome to the Adventurers Guild.
And I am not a fan of going slow. Let's see. I guess let's take on Ajdaha. Oh my god. Yeah, we definitely cannot do. Fine. Order anything you want from Taco Hell? No. I don't do Taco Hell. Alright.
More interest.
You know what? Let's try it. What? Why are you staring at me, dude? You're being creepy.
You dare overstep your mortal authority?
I am water incarnate. I will slaughter you. Well, she immediately died. That checks out.
Settle down.
The enraged earth will not absolve you!
Oh no.
Today, you witness your reckoning!
Really, you had to go with Hydro, huh?
Silence!
Time to get ticked.
Yoo-hoo! Let the world collide!
Come on. No, that's not what I wanted to happen.
Settle down. The time.
Oh, this is one way to do it. Chipotle? You know, I've never actually eaten a Chipotle.
Be not perturbed. Unscathed. An oversight on my part.
Strike a pose!
Time to...
And let's run.
Say cheese!
The enraged earth will not absolve you!
It's overrated? Yeah, that sounds about right. That's how I feel about most Mexican foods. Now, having had like legitimate real Mexican food, it's amazing. But the Americanized versions are not that good.
Experience and feel of suffering.
One with nature. Clouds high.
Let my name echo in song!
Hard-hitting exclusive!
Settle down. Be sanctified.
This is not going well.
Silence.
Justice
blindsided.
Smile!
back to the earth.
I don't know. We've done a pretty good job with the Chinese and Japanese food, in my personal experience. I love me some Panda Express. Could totally eat Panda Express every day. Let's come over here. So, Sai, how far am I from the quest that you need for exploring more of Fontaine? I mean, I can't even if I wanted to, but this is not my normal team. I'm learning how to use this team for the Abyss here for this next run. So that should be fun. How are you doing today? Let's see. I guess let's go to the restaurant. Is why are you licking your paw? You supposed to be doing that? That's what I thought. You know better. When will the battle pass be active again? No, just no. It's great Chinese American, but authentic Chinese. Well, I've never had authentic Chinese.
Time to go.
But some orange chicken, I can't make it better than they can make it. So I've tried. I've failed many times.
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
In that case, I'll go order for us first. Please wait here a moment.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Yes,
sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's
I
good,
will.
I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
You, sure have your own way of doing things.
Well, yes. She's a mob boss. What do you expect?
It's a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
It's certainly worth celebrating. It was a pleasure working with you.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food.
I mean, you're gonna eat it, aren't you?
Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any
living in
follow-up
Seattle,
that
I've
the
had my
authorities
choice
might
of
conduct.
authentic Asian.
It's not that I don't have faith
Using
in their
Americanized Asian is
ability.
very sweet.
It's just
I can see that.
a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against
We Americans
and
really
see
like-
a single narrow perspective. A shift
You
in
are there.
thinking is required at such times
try again.
in order to
We Americans
produce a
definitely like our
breakthrough,
sugar, that's for sure.
which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal,
Learn, like-
so I doubt you have
Oh, so
further
do I.
interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else.
I've had Vietnamese. I've never had
What are
Korean.
your future
Like
plans?
authentic Korean. We wanted to ask the Hydro Archon for some information, but we haven't had much opportunity to do so.
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways? Perhaps even methods of, let's say, questionable legality?
Guess that's Spina
I mean, why wouldn't we?
class for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play. Don't you think?
I mean, it's possible.
Could you suggest something a little more practical?
Never.
This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her
Navia,
go back to sleep
sweetheart.
until she answers all your questions.
That
I can
seems like a
personally
good way to
testify
die.
that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
There's a joke to be made there.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Ah, that's minor.
Valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep.
How can you overlook something like that?
All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could... Oh, I don't know. Cut the line when she's on a break. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean,
Hey,
if
you
we
know-
catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh,
I will
that
happily
does
accept
make
that
some
timeout because
sense.
it's worth it. It's worth a try. Would someone with her personality really feel shame?
Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron
That's the
is
real
hot and
question.
all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink?
Whoopsie.
Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Rude.
Alright.
Today was supposed to be a Spiral Abyss stream, but that has
Fonda anyway. It
not
tastes
been
kinda salty
feasible,
and icky.
sadly. I'd have to agree. My drink also tasted that way too.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fonta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
How kind of her.
Yeah.
She took me on a
we're
date. So
stuffed.
sweet.
Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore.
You could try walking, you know. Or you could try floating a little lower. So the meal with sandwiches, tea, and cookies and cakes? I'd be dying. I mean, that seems appropriate.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with... Huh.
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Why is everyone in this series just broke as hell? Seems that was pretty tough for her. That was a pretty pricey meal, all thanks to Paimon.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye!
Oh yeah, easily.
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do
Easily
encounter any
250
other
a
trouble in
plate.
Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your request the highest priority.
I love you.
In any case, I wish you
We're
smooth
almost done
sailing.
here.
I'll
Okay.
see you again, partner.
See ya!
As light rain falls without reason. So that took about 3 hours. That wasn't too bad. But that is where we are going to call it quits, at least for now. I may try to stream a little bit more later. I'm not entirely sure. Because I can't do what I want to do, which is Spiral Abyss, because my latency is just too high. I need Mediacom for that one. So we will be continuing on with our story streams at that time, but I think needs to go out for a bit. So, and I need to get some food to me because I've not actually eaten today, and it's 3:30, so I should probably do that. But we may come back a little bit later for some more streams, some more story streams, because we need to get at least the Archon quest done, you know, because we have taken our sweet time to do those. Really, our next few streams with Genshin will be event streams or questing streams. So we're getting there. We're going to slowly knock out this ridiculous list of quests. And somehow I just got another one added. What? I don't know when that one got added. Damn it. Okay, anyway. So this is what we'll be doing soon. I do appreciate everyone being here. And until next time, thank you so much for tuning in and have a wonderful day and or night. Bye-bye.